If a public school district allows churches to purchase advertising outside its buildings, do you think a Satanist should be allowed to participate? All of you watching this probably are like, yeah, legally speaking, if you allow Christians to purchase something, then non-Christians can also purchase the same thing, as long as everyone's following the rules. It's an all or nothing idea, right? You can let all religions in, including atheism, or none of them. So the Broward County Public Schools in Florida, they have a system in place where outside companies, businesses, nonprofits can buy banners that they put outside their football field. Generates money for the district, which is fine. And you can advertise whatever it is you want. I mean, they have some guidelines, but they're pretty loose. And so last year, a guy named Chaz Stevens, a local activist, he saw one of these banners outside the school. So this is a picture outside the football field, and you could see this sign is for Calvary Chapel, Parkland. We have a new home. Come to church. Here's when our worship services are. So, okay, so the church could advertise outside. This is actually outside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in the district. That school, of course, the site of a mass shooting several years ago, but this school has advertising outside the school. Fine. So what does Chaz Stevens do when he sees that banner? Well, he sends an email to school officials saying, I would like to purchase my own ad to go up outside your schools, preferably next to that Christian banner you have there. And I'm going to show you his banner. I'm not kidding. This is what he wanted to submit. The Church of Satanology. It's the ministry of Chaz the Bropostle. Actually, I'm sorry. It's the Church of Satanology and Perpetual Soiree. And I do appreciate this because it's outside the football field. Satan is here for the pick sixes. Well played, my friend. So he has this banner. He proposes it to the school district. And by the way, as far as I can tell, there's nothing here that violates any of the district's rules. Like, it might be in your face, but it's not offensive in any meaningful way. It's not provocative. It just says stuff that might rub some people the wrong way, but that's not a rule. You know what I mean? So he said, I want to put this thing up. And guess what happened when he sent that email? He did not get a response. Surprise. So because this is Chaz Stevens, and I kind of know how this dude operates now, he keeps emailing them because he's like, I'm not going away just because you ignore me. And eventually it got the attention of a media outlet called Parkland Talk. And they were like, hey, school district, why aren't you responding to this guy? Because we're curious about it too. And then after the local news outlet, after that Parkland Talk finally inquired about it, they did respond. And this is what the school district said to Parkland Talk here. After Parkland Talk sought comment from Broward County Public Schools about the Calvary Chapel Parkland advertisement, one of their officials told us in an email Monday, thank you for bringing this question to our attention. Based on the district's advertising policy, the banner has been removed. So what did they do? They were like, all right, you're asking about the satanic banner. You know what? We have an answer. We're going to take down the church banner. Problem solved. By the way, there was actually a similar church banner at a local middle school. That was removed too, but it took a while. So why did the church banner come down? School officials said it's because the district policy actually bans any sort of religious or political advertising, along with anything sectarian in nature. And you know what? So what that means is the banner should never have gone up. The church ad should not have gone up. Now that you brought it to our attention, we are taking it down. And you know what? In a way, problem solved, because all Chaz Stevens was asking for was equal treatment. It was all or nothing. And the district clearly decided to go with nothing. We're not allowing any church ads. Except the problem did not end there, because there's another school in the same district, Cooper City High School. And guess what? They still had banners hanging. This is the banner outside their school. The Pentecostals of Cooper City. Like Cooper City Church. This is the same district, and they have another ad promoting a church. So They took down one of the banners and eventually another one at a middle school, but like, here's another one sitting right there. So guess what Chaz Stevens did? He's like, hello, district, it's me again. Take it down. And they did not respond to him, but they took down that sign too, the Cooper City one. It was actually enough of a problem that they took it down that I'm going out of chronological order here, but just this week, there was a school board. Actually, I take it back. Like 2 weeks ago, there was a school board meeting, and the pastor of this church, Cooper City, the Pentecostals of Cooper City, the guy who runs that church, his name is Paul Volin. He spoke at the school board meeting, and basically he wanted to know why his banner came down. Because according to him, his church paid the district $1,200 so that that banner could hang up for a year, a calendar year. And he said it was up from February of 2023 until December, not a full year. And then it was removed, he was told, due to a complaint. And he was not told about the complaint. In fact, he didn't mention Satan. He didn't mention Chaz. I don't know if he knew about any of that. He was just told by the district, there was a complaint, your banner comes down now. And he's like, well, you still owe us like 2 to 3 months of advertising because we paid for it, which is a fair point. I'm going to play for you just a little glimpse of what Paul Volin said at this recent board meeting.
We are simply asking for equal treatment under the law and for churches not to be seen or treated as second-class citizens. No one should be singled out and targeted because of religious belief. Our goal is to resolve this situation quickly and with as little difficulty as possible. We have no desire to move to next steps. We desire to be partners and not adversaries. Sadly, removing our signage and singling out a religious organization very clearly violates free speech, free exercise, and the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment.
So, you know what? I don't necessarily disagree with him there. The irony is that Chaz Stevens argued it's religious discrimination not to put up his sign, and then this church is arguing it's religious discrimination to take down their sign. Like, it's a total mess, and it's the district's own damn fault. All they had to do was nothing. Instead, by selectively allowing Christian churches to put up these banners, they created this legal mess they're in. And guess what? It doesn't end there either, because this past August at West Glades Middle School, there was another church sign that was up. This one is for Potter's House outside the school. And the district later responded to Chaz, that banner has been removed. And it happened in September again at a local high school. Maybe that was the banner I just showed you. Maybe that was the one at the high school. Basically, at this point, Chaz Stevens feels like he's playing whack-a-mole with all these banners. The district keeps taking them down after he asks about them, but without him raising a fuss about it, they don't seem to be doing anything, right? So at what point are they just going to let Chaz put up his banner or, follow their own stupid policy? So here's what Chaz did next. After all of this, clearly it's not working. He filed a lawsuit against the district. And here's the thing. He's not a lawyer and he doesn't have a lot of money necessarily. But he wrote this himself. Like, he filed it by himself, which if you're not a lawyer and you're filing a lawsuit, the odds of you winning are not great. But he tried to make it look very professional. I appreciated this thing that he wrote, though, number 26. By allowing other religious organizations to display banners, defendant, the school district, created a public forum for religious expression. The exclusion of Chaz's religious message from this public forum constitutes a substantial burden on Chaz's ability to exercise his religion in a manner available to the other religious groups, which is a fancy way of saying, why are you letting them put up their banners and not mine? That is not right. And I think that's fair. So last month, this case moved to federal court. The district's lawyers are trying to have it tossed out, which is interesting. And basically they're saying, come on, this is not a real lawsuit. What are you doing? But I found this argument really interesting. After admitting all the stuff Chaz has been arguing is happening, look at what they said. Plaintiff, Chaz, only cites 3 occasions where 3 signs for Calvary Chapel and Potter's House had posted, Chaz only mentioned there were 3 banners up and we took them down. And look what they say next. There are over 300 schools in the school board of Broward County, Florida system. Because these 3 instances do not equate to a persistent and widespread practice, the court cannot conclude that the school board has an unofficial customer policy contrary to the published policy. Like, you guys, it's only happened 3 times. Very clearly, we're not breaking the law. We just made an oopsie a few times. And Chaz keeps finding out about them, and he keeps telling us about them. But don't worry, we take it down. We just won't allow his poster to accidentally go up for a little while. Like, what the hell? So look, I don't know if Chaz's lawsuit will go anywhere because, again, he's not a lawyer. It's possible it gets tossed out on a technicality. I don't know. But I don't think that means his efforts are in vain, because I think what he's doing is making the district very uncomfortable with not sticking to its own policy. And that's because in the coming weeks, the Broward County School Board has announced they are going to have a meeting. I think it's December 10th, where they're going to discuss what they're going to do about their policy to make sure it's actually enforced. And a couple things about that. When Chaz Stevens filed his lawsuit, the day it was filed in September, the district sent out a memo to all principals saying, hey, check your schools, and if you have any religious banners, take them down. So that made a difference. The lawsuit did make that difference. That was interesting. And I also think it's not in vain what Chaz is doing because of this. This is super small font. However, this is the policy regarding religious advertisements in Palm Beach County schools, which is not far away. And just look at the highlighted bit here. Examples of inappropriate business partner fence screen recognitions. Who can you not put up a banner for? They include, but are not limited to, churches, organizations which, as its primary function, furthers, promotes, or seeks to establish a religious tenet or position about religion or spirituality, including agnosticism, atheism, or Satanism. They specifically said, you guys, no church banners, and also nothing promoting Satanism, just as an example, not that anyone would actually do that. That policy that I'm showing you right here was adopted in 2017. And why was it adopted? Because some dude named Chaz Stevens tried to purchase a Satan-related banner at a high school in the district. So kudos to this guy. Kudos to Chaz for all he's doing. I will show you one other thing here, which is this is your hero right here. There's Chaz. He also runs a business called ESA Doggy, which is for emotional support animals. This guy loves dogs. So he's the guy who's putting up this fuss. Great activism in a sense. I really appreciate what he's doing. Now, I will tell you this as well. Let's say the Broward County Public Schools adopts this new policy. It doesn't necessarily mean the religious groups go away, because their argument, and I need to make this clear, the religious side's argument is that if the district allows any kind of advertisements at all, they cannot say no politics, no religion. And the Supreme Court has basically gone along with this. They're saying you have a choice. Either allow all advertisements with basic guidelines, or don't allow any advertisements. And if the district says no to all advertisements, that means they're not getting any money that they could be making from those advertisements. And that's a shame, because I'm sure the school district could use that money. It's a lot of money. $1,200 for a year, and they have a lot of space on those fences. I mean, that's not cheap. That's not like chump change. So, but they have a choice here. Either let every banner up or say no to everything. And they could have avoided this entire fight if they just allowed Chaz to put up his banner. That's what I'm surprised by. I don't think anyone would have noticed. I don't think they would have made a big deal about it. But because they refused to allow Chaz's banner to go up, now not only do they risk a lawsuit that they are now dealing with, or maybe another lawsuit with Liberty, with one of those right-wing groups, but they could lose out on all the revenue because they don't know what they're doing, right? So I did ask Chaz Stevens about this. I said, if they make a policy change and they have no banners or something, do you think that's a victory? And what he told me is that he didn't think it would be a victory, not entirely, because there was a full year when religious ads were allowed to go up, but his were prohibited. And he added, he also would not get the acknowledgement that they discriminated against him. And that means a lot to him. He wants that acknowledgement. He also wanted people to know that this is not about money. Even if he wins his lawsuit, he might get at most like one symbolic dollar. This is not about money. But this is a guy who has been fighting the good fight for a while. He is actually now running for mayor of Deerfield Beach, Florida. You can Google Chaz Stevens, Deerfield Beach. He's also, sometimes there are nativity scenes in the Florida state capitol. He has responded not by putting up a statue of Baphomet. He has nothing to do with the Satanic Temple, but he has put up like a Festivus pole made of beer cans just to shove it in the faces of the religious zealots who want the nativity scene in there. And so this is what I appreciate about Chaz. Sometimes the best way to create change isn't just complaining about the problem, which I find useful, but forcing the changes to happen yourself, because you're just so damn persistent. They had many sermons blaming Satan for taking their banner down too. I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did a lot of that. You know what? And I want to be clear. The guy who spoke at that board meeting, I'm not mad at him. I don't think he's the bad guy in all this. I think he raises some legitimate points. It's the school board that's the problem here, because they don't know what they're doing. Why is this so hard for them to understand? Buy a billboard by the highway, not buy a school. I don't know who you're talking to. I don't know if you're talking to the school board or the people purchasing the banners. But listen, if the school board wants advertising money, they need to figure out better policies. And if churches want to advertise, they have plenty of places to do it. But I don't blame the churches for taking advantage of what the schools were offering. Like, I get why they did it. During the start of busing to desegregate schools, one school closed down rather than accept a few black kids. That's true. Same deal here. Rather than put up a banner unaligned with the status quo, no banners allowed. I know. Like I said, I don't think it would have been a big deal for them to put up Chaz's sign. It would have raised a few people's eyebrows, gotten some chuckles, and that would be the end of it. But very much Streisand effect now. They did the wrong thing, and now it's blowing up in their faces. This is a good example of one persistent person making a difference. Didn't even have to call in FFRF. Yeah. I mean, he does a lot of activism on his own. I will admit, sometimes I don't love every single thing he tries, because he's very much gives off the vibe of, I'm going to be in your face if you don't do what I think is the right thing to do. And that can rub people the wrong way. But I can't deny he's very effective. What would you put on a satanic banner for school? Asks Den. Satan loves you. Satan wants to hug you. Satan isn't going to judge you or send you to hell for what you do. You could do so many things that get in the faces of those Christian signs. The devil is in the details. That's a good title. I like that. The deviled ham can from when I was a child. Nice. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Ooh, I like that too. I like it. You guys are clever with these. Satan, the original rebel. That's a good one. What else we got? Free devil's food cake with lunch. Sponsorship opportunity. I like it. What would C do? Who is C? Am I missing something obvious? Satan doesn't judge you. He hates your dad too. I like it. Oh, what would Chaz do? Of course. Got Satan? Nice. That's a good one. Lucifer for class president. Good one.